This is the Mugunghwa Dongsan Park. Mugunghwa is this flower. I believe the English name is Rose of Sharon, but I'm not 100% sure. There is a song about them. It goes, Mugunghwa, Mugunghwa, 우리나라 꽃 삼천리 강산에 우리나라 꽃. Mugunghwa is the name of the flower. 우리나라 꽃, 꽃 means flower. 우리 means our, and 나라 means country. So 우리나라 꽃 means our country's flower. So it's 무궁화, 무궁화, our country's flower. 삼천리. A li is a distance. I think it's the distance that a healthy person can walk in an hour or maybe in a day. So 삼천리 is a very long distance. And then Gangsane, Gang means river and San means mountain. So to the river and to the mountain. 우리나라 꽃. It is our country's flower. This is not a mugunghwa, but it is a pretty flower, lit up very nicely in the park's night lights. Here is another flower that is not a mugunghwa, but I like how the park lights are kind of mixing in with the flowers here, so it's hard to tell whether the flowers are particularly shiny or the lights are pretending to be flowers. I am going to sneeze. It's going to be loud. Excuse me. Ooh. Here is some in-depth information on Mugunghwa. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I will scan it so that you can use pause and scroll to read it yourself if you want. The uses of Mugunghwa. At the top of Korean flagpoles is a mugunghwa. You will also see it on the flags of different government bodies, including the flag of the National Assembly Court. It's used in national medals and citations. And I know that because it says so right here. I'm not that smart. I just read. There's an example of a cap logo. And yeah, Rose of Sharon is what it's called, I guess. I was right. Since ancient times, Mugunghwa has been beloved by the Korean people as a symbol of Korea. It carries the meaning of flower that blooms for eternity and never dies. Historical records show, once again, you can use pause and scroll to read this whole thing. The Korean people's love of Mugunghwa remained strong during the Japanese occupation. And during the Japanese occupation, Koreans found and really latched onto some national symbols as a way of maintaining their grasp, their concept of the national identity in the face of a colonizing movement trying to erase it. And they did try to erase it. When I first came to Korea, I don't know if this is true anymore because they've gotten quite old, but when I first came to Korea, the tour guidebook said that many of the older Koreans that you meet would be fluent in Korean because they would have attended elementary school in a Japanese-only school. And so when I went to Japan, to Osaka, to get my work visa, my first boss in Korea, his father was one of those people who had learned to read and write in Japanese. And he actually wrote a little note, and he said, if you get lost when you're looking for the consulate, show this note to somebody. And he had written in Japanese, I'm looking for the Korean consulate, and please help me find it. Excuse me again. I don't think I'm allergic to flowers, but something is making me sneezy. And this is one of the most perfect nights for a walk that we've had in Korea for quite a while, because it's just been filthy hot, as it does get in August. Now, here are those lights that were pretending to be flowers from the other side of the park. This is, I think, maybe nearly the end of my little park tour, my little garden tour. Oh, we've got some blue flowers here. I don't think we've gotten a nice close-up of the blue ones yet. The lights are just a little concealed behind bushes and trees, lighting up the branches and leaves of the trees, but not quite visible themselves. Like right there. I think the whole forest, the whole garden turns magical to me. Reminds me of the visuals of something like a Miyazaki film, like Howl's Moving Castle, or My Neighbor Totoro. This beautiful book called Journey that I once found, about a girl who finds a magical crayon that makes anything she draws become real, and she draws a door that leads her to a magical country. It's a neat story, but the really cool thing about it is that it is entirely non-verbal. It is the entire story. It doesn't have a word of text except on the title page of the book. And which means that you get to make up the story, and it can be a little different every time you tell it, or you can just turn the pages slowly and ponder the beautiful, beautiful art. Maybe I'll do a tour of the magical forest in that story sometime, instead of a tour of magical trees like that. Once again, when you've got the lights not quite visible, but lighting up the entire tree, the way that the light and the shadow plays back and forth. It's just one of my favorite things. It's one of the reasons I love taking walks at night. Okay, that's my little tour of the Mugunghwa Dongsan. If you want to go there, here's the bus stop. If you get out at Gyeongbokgung Station, the subway station, which is subway line number 3, Gyeongbok High School. Bus station 01109 is the place to get off. And the 1020, 7022, and 7212 from Gyeongbok Station. The exit that's on the same side of the street as the pharmacy across the street from the Paris Baguette Bakery. That's where you have to catch the bus. You have to go a few steps down the street. If you get, I think it's just past the Starbucks on the, if you're looking away from the station on the right side of the street. I think it's 3 or 4 stops from there. So you can go take a tour of that park yourself. And if you do, make a little video of it like this and put a link to it in the replies to my video so that I can watch it and see what you have to say, how that park moves you, and what kinds of things it moves you to say when you visit. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this whole thing, good on ya. Have a wonderful day or night or evening or whatever it is when you watch this. Have a great morn, stern evening. And I'll see you again for some other tour of some other awesome place sometime soon.